I'm Michelle Ryder, editor of Print IT Reseller. In this video series with Epson, we explore how resellers are utilising decades of industry expertise to optimise the new balanced deployment of print. We look at some of the key challenges facing both dealers and vendors, including the increasing accountability businesses are taking for the environment. Joining me today is John Behan, Managing Director of SoS Group. Thank you for joining me, John.
Thank you for having me.
So, just to kick off our conversation, in your opinion, what are the key challenges that dealers are facing today?
I think most of the challenges revolve around sustainability. Customers are far more aware of that question. Value for money is always the case. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, that translates into cheap, but they claim value for money. And since pandemic, of course, there's been a huge sea change in working environment, working styles. They're probably the key issues that we face at this point in time.
Yeah. So how can print vendors help you to address those?
So our experience with the print vendors, they have been within reason as flexible, I think, as they can be. New initiatives, new technologies, heat-free, sustainability is a big, big sea change for us in our world.
And is that sort of helping you differentiate and win if there's multiple pitches, for example, for
Differentiate,
one contract?
definitely. It brings a different aspect of what you're renewing your print fleet can and should look like going forward.
John, in your experience, to what extent are changing customer requirements driving change in terms of how print fleets are proposed, deployed, and indeed optimised on an ongoing basis?
So the change in working environment, the hybrid office, for example, has driven still a need and requirement for print scan for users, but they're in a home office environment, so size can be critical. Performance is critical. Energy saving, given the sideline problems we've had with increasing energy costs. When we move back into the office environment, what we're in a lot of cases large, basically packed with every square inch with desks, there's been a change in that. So you've got a lot more breakout spaces, you've got a lot more dissemination of where people are sitting and are working from to just segregate the workforce, not in a negative way, but in a means to ensure that there is a little bit more separation of duty and things of that nature. That has then led to, well, we now need to change the style of how we function. So where we were all printing or scanning from and to a single large multifunctional device, it has become a much greater separated fleet purpose and fleet need. And that probably is one of the largest single drivers that we see today.
And then moving on from that, how do you ensure customers benefit from a balanced deployment?
So recognition of need, doing a correct scoping exercise. So making sure that customers do actually not only fully understand, that actually sounds a little insulting and patronising, but actually use their own data that they have. What are they printing? Where are they printing it from? What are the demands of that print? There is and has always been, a much greater print volume of A4 than there has been of A3. But with the best will in the world, people like ourselves and all of the vendors have traditionally pushed A3 devices as a far more common, well, you might as well have this device because it's more appropriate. Those trends are reversing. Again, going back to what we were saying about size, space, scope, needs. So all of those aspects being, as I've said, correctly identified, correctly scoped, give a much more sensible approach to a true balanced deployment, as opposed to, well, you just need 10 of device type A. It's actually 5 of, 3 of, 2 of, 1 of, whatever the case may be. But it is, again, derived from a better understanding of those needs and of those wants.
Thank you, John. It's been really interesting, and I think the one thing that we can definitely agree on is this industry continues to change and evolve.
And it probably always will.
Thank you so much for your insight and for taking the time to speak to me today.
You're very welcome.
And I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you for having me.